Hello my friends, welcome back to the homestead. I'm glad to have everybody here with us. If you're new here, my name is Jessie and I'm the mama. And right now you're seeing mostly me because I'm doing the canning and my helpers who help me in the garden and such are kind of busy doing their own thing. Jessie boy, I'm sure, will come in here at the end and say our memory verse that we like to share. Anyway, we are a family that lives on 1 acre and we do as much as we possibly can with it and we share as much as we possibly can with it. Today I am canning potatoes. I'm going to pressure can these potatoes because the reason I'm canning them this time of year, the 1st of October, is I found a 50-pound bag at our local Save-A-Lot store. We live in a rural area. We don't have a huge amount of places close to us that, to get groceries from. And I found a 50-pound bag of potatoes for $25.99. These used to be 18 bucks like 6 months ago. Know where that goes. Anyhow, some of these potatoes might have a few bad spots, and they can be really large. Look how big this is. I had one that was bigger than these, and I already cut it up. And they can be kind of off-shaped. Like a foot. I don't know. I'll cut it up. Anyway, I'm going to cube these up. I'm going to put them in quart jars today. I am going to pressure can them. I'll take you through some of the steps with me. I make them in pretty good sized chunks. Nothing too small because they will soften up in the canner. These are great for a quick mashed potato. Use it for any kind of quick soups. We have a cheesy potato casserole that we really like. That it makes it way easier on me to skip this step when I'm busy. I can just dump it out of the jar and go. There's a lot of different things you can do with this. I will say I have dry canned potatoes once before. I did a couple batches one year. Actually, I have a few left on my shelf back there. And they weren't my favorite. And the family didn't much care for them either. We ate them, but they wasn't our favorite. We much prefer just the traditional way of canning potatoes. Anyway, the main reason I wanted to bring you along with me is we're going to see how many quarts we can get out of this 50-pound bag. And I haven't done a potato video before, at least not that I can remember. So I'm going to bring you along with me. And I've already gotten started. I skipped some of the peeling. I might show you a quick peel in my peeler that I like to use. I actually have 3 of them. These are from Rada, R-A-D-A knives, and they are really good peelers, and right now this one's my favorite. So let's get started. Okay, I just use my counter. I make sure it's good and clean and washed off with soap and water and the whole deal disinfected. I have my big bowl here. I got this bowl from Rural King, and it had a flat bottom, but it was in the canning section. And I got this year 3, 4, I don't even know, way before the Big C thing happened. And the kids picked at me because they said it reminded them of a dog bowl. But I actually like, even if it is, I'll get another one. I actually like this flat bottom because it's super stable, and it holds a lot. So I don't even know how many I have in here. I lost track of how many I've peeled so far. But this was just some good cold water, an old ice cream bucket for my peels, and some potatoes, and I'll only just peel a couple of them just to make it quick. I kind of sling the peels everywhere, so overlook that for me. Once we get them in, then we'll see about how many jars we could fill. But it works really fast. It's easier for me to sling them on the counter and then put them in the bucket than it is for me to do this. That's annoying. I'm in a hurry. I don't want to be here peeling potatoes forever. If I got some yucky stuff on the end, just cut it. No big deal. Got a little spottage underneath the skins. The peeler will take care of it. Look. Now look, I've not dropped a single potato, but because I'm videoing, I'm going to start having troubles. You watch. I keep this finger underneath the potato with plenty of room so that the peeler cannot get to it. Because you don't want to peel your finger. It is sharp and it will hurt. There's a boo-boo spot. I'm going to turn this away. Get some of those off. If I have too many deep ones, I'll use a knife because I don't want to erode too much of the potato. Then I set it off to the side. Since I moved closer to the camera, some of them got a little close to the bowl. And that's it. Didn't take very long at all. I should have timed myself, huh? And I'm going to cut it in half. Whatever good knife you've got. That's not quite half. Always check, because sometimes you'll peel a potato and it looks fine on the outside and you'll go to cut it and it'll have some yuck on the inside. Cut it out. You want good clean potatoes, okay? No yucky junk, no brown, no rot. Alright, let's do this weird one. Why not? I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to cut this along. Some troll off these toes. Now it feels a little soft. Yep, see there's a yucky spot. Which doesn't surprise me the way this potato was shaped. So we'll have to check and make sure the inside's even. It peeled away pretty good. Let's cut down there where it was soft. Looks fine to me. Alright, good deal. Cut it. I'll go ahead and cut that one in half. Had a little piece of peeling on there. And brush this to the side. And this one, I'm just going to get rid of that. There's another wonky looking spot. Let's see. Like I said, keep that finger away from the edge. If it's smaller, I curl it under. If it's longer, I point it out and I just make sure there's plenty of potato. It doesn't take too many times of hitting your finger to learn to stay away from that blade. Jesse Boy was peeling, I think, an apple one time, and he wanted to use this peeler. It might have been a potato, I don't remember. He said it was an apple, and he got his finger. So he learned. Not pleasant. Alright, last one. If you're interested in these kind of peelers, they also have really good knives. I am not an affiliate. We don't do fundraising or whatever. We have bought them from other people who fundraise. Our local Mennonite shop, I say local, it's like the next county over. That's where I bought these silver ones from. But they even have a website, and I think pretty much everybody's heard about them. But just in case you haven't, I thought I'd share with you, because I use these peelers a lot. A little more peels than what I'm used to. Okay. So, I'm going to see. Whoop, I think I hit my tripod. Sorry. I'm no professional, man. So, they've been soaking in here. It lets a little of the starch out. It's not a necessity, but I also keep it cold because I don't want them turning yucky or ugly. I have not added salt to these because I will add salt in my jars. I'm going to see how many jars I can get full. I might peel a couple more potatoes. And when we're ready to put them in the jars, I'll bring you back. Potatoes are all cut up. You try to keep them somewhat same size, but I mean, obviously, I'm not going to take the time to make sure they're exact. So some are going to be a little thinner, some are going to be a little more square. It's okay. They're pretty well rinsed, and then you're going to get your hands wet. It's going to get a little messy. But we're going to start filling. Fill it as close as you can. If you shake it down, might lower us a little bit. If you shake it down, you get a little more room in there. That's probably about all I'm going to fit in that one. I've got it right up to this rim. Still room for water. Okay. I'm going to fill all of these, and then we're going to put our salt in. I have my canner here in the background, but it's cold. It's not warming up because this is all cold process. Cold canner, cold jars. I do have 3 quarts of water in here with just a zhuzh of vinegar because we have hard water here on our homestead, and that keeps the jars clean. All right, let's get to filling the rest of them. Okay, so I have 7 quarts, which is what my canner will hold. And this is, there's still some left over. That's kind of what the water looks like. I'm going to take what's remaining, and instead of waiting and for the next round, I'll go ahead and add a couple more potatoes to this bowl, and I'll probably run a batch through my electric canner. It holds, I believe, 4 quarts. I've used it a few times. Try and get you a little better shot there. I've used it a few times without you guys. It's got a long story. I'll have to tell you the story of the electric canner. Anyway, I love the thing. It's super awesome. But I might just whip that out today and get these extras done so that they get them all done at once. And then hopefully I'll have enough time, bleh, my tongue, for another round. And then we may be about halfway done, and then I'll try to finish up the whole bag by tomorrow. We have plans later this evening, or else I'd just do a marathon and work through in the morning. But I can't do that today. So, next step is I need to add salt to this. Hold on just a minute. Look out, kitty. I have a kitty cat bugging me. Teaspoon of salt in each jar. It's not a necessity, but it is good for flavor. It is good for preservation, but I don't think you have to do such a thing. Always double check. And I feel like this should go without saying, but I will bring up again. Check to make sure all of your jars have no chips. No cracks. Not even the smallest, most subtle one. I had a jar get past me last week when I did some beef stew, and it failed to seal. And I couldn't figure it out, and I got to looking really close, and it had the tiniest little chip on the outside edge that I missed, and it didn't seal. It's in the fridge. I still haven't even cooked it yet. I mean, it's cooked, but warmed it up. So always check. And there's a little potato peel in this one I missed. Yeah. Good to double check your jars. So these are all good. I'm going to get my lids and rings on them. I'll wipe them down with a wet cloth since I just ran my fingers all over them. And we'll get them in the canner. Gee whiz, I almost forgot to tell you to put the water in. That was wise, right? This is just a room temperature water, not hot, not cold. Each jar gets some. Fill them in. I'm telling you. Now, since I have them packed pretty tight, I can't really run your stick or your debubbler around, so I just kind of give it a little zhuzh, and I'll do the same after I put my lids on. I just kind of give it a little shimmy to make sure there's no holes or anything. But this is not warm water. This is not cold water, okay? And I pour it up to about here, and if a little potato sticks out, it's not the end of the world, but you want to cover if possible. Once it goes in the canner, it's going to come down a little bit. Who needs that funnel, right? It's just water. I have all different kinds of jars, too. I had one I had to retire today. I'll have to show it to you. I think the oldest one I'm using today is this old ball jar. It's a little bit more squared off, and it has the measurements, and you can just tell it's thicker. I love old jars. This one's a Golden Harvest, and not a new one. I don't know how old this one is. It's at least a few years old. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure everything's sanitary. Of course, these jars were all washed, all clean, all ready to go before we started this process. This is a Cura jar. There. I might get this one just a little more. This one potato wants to stick out a little further than I like. There. That's better. All right. Now let's get the lids and rings on them. Okay, we're getting ready to put them into the canner. Today this is cold pack, so I'm putting my cold jars, room temperature jars, in here with my water. Nothing hot. Now you can hot pack this. It's not a big deal. It's just what your preference is. But today I didn't really feel like heating everything up. And it's not a big deal. Instead of cranking up the canner full blast whenever I get them all in, we're just going to warm it up gradually. A lot less stress, okay? I do have my water in here, as I said. 3 quarts of water. And a little bit of vinegar. You get your jars in there as close as you can. They're technically not supposed to touch, but when you have different kinds of jars, it's just, you know, you do the best you can. All right. Get my arrangement in order. I'll move you up, let you see. There they are. Ready to go. Okay. Now this is my All-American canner. I don't have a Presto. Your canner might be different. Your canner might have a gasket. This one does not. It's metal on metal. So I always add a little bit of a lubricant. You can pick what lubricant's good for you. You might be able to hear husband's lawnmower out there. Just a thin coating, nothing goopy. I'm just not getting very much. Ugh, that was a bit much. I said nothing goopy, and then what did I do? Go all the way around. And then we're going to do the same for the lid. Around this edge. And this canner got a really thorough cleaning last go round, because what I canned had meat. I canned meat, so it was a little greasy. So I got it good and clean. So I definitely need to make sure that my gasket is lubricated. This would be my gasket, metal on metal. I always check through your vent. I can actually look through there and see light and know it's clean. Always check that. Always check to make sure that your gauge is intact. I have a line here, a little notch and an arrow. Tells me how to place my lid. All right. I'm just feeling. The more you work with your canner, the easier it is. It really is. You get more comfortable with it. And you make them nice and snug. These locks here. Turn them. And you might have to adjust because you want your lid to be level. If it starts spitting out one end more than the other, it's because your lid's not level. And that can affect your pressure. I think I'm pretty good. All right, we're gonna get this. I'm gonna start it on about a 4 on my stove and start bringing everything up. Get a chance to get good and warm before we start venting. All right, once this gets warmed up, I'm going to turn it up high enough that it's going to start venting out of here. Once it vents for 10 minutes, I'm going to put my weight on, which is in my cabinet, but I'll show you in a minute. I keep it separate than my canner so I don't lose it. It's in a special place all the time. When I'm done using it, I put it right back so it can't be lost. But anyway, I'll get it out. I'll place it on here, and I'm going to pressure can these quarts for 40 minutes, okay? Whenever it starts warming up, I'll come back for you. This is my Nesco electric canner. This little canner has a bit of a story. Husband purchased this for me, I think it was like January 2020, something like that, right before all the craziness happened. And I can't remember if it was 2020. I think it was 2020. Anyway, we bought it at our local Rural King. I paid $129 for it. I was all excited. It was new to me. I got to use it one time. I canned chili in it, leftover chili. And one of my precious, precious sons knocked it over and broke it. I'm looking at him. Anyway, I just knew it was totally ruined and destroyed. And I was sick, and I stuffed it in a box, and I put it in that box until, I can't remember, a few weeks to a month ago, maybe. Actually, it would have been the beginning of September. So, yeah, right at a month, 3 weeks to a month. Still like brand new, except for the broken parts. And I knew I could never afford to replace it, even whenever it got knocked off. And I'm kind of short-tempered. So it took me, I guess, 2 years to get over it. And I pulled it out one day. I looked it over, and right here on the side, the handles broke off. And I looked down inside, everything's still intact. I looked at all the metal, everything's intact. I said, okay. I got it out. I cleaned up what little bit of stuff was on the top, but it was still in the foam in the box because it was literally brand new when I put it back in the box. I'm telling you this story because we're not all perfect and Mama's not perfect. And it took me 2 years before I got over the fact that it got knocked off the counter. And I said, okay, I'm going to do an experiment. I had 4 little pint jars of caramelized onions. And instead of dragging out my big canner, I said, I'm going to try it and see if it'll work. And all the kids, of course, were evacuated into the other half of the house. And I stayed in here alone just in case. And we went through the process and it worked just fine. So kudos to Nesco for making a really tough electric canner. It's a tough one. And maybe somebody will get a little benefit out of this story. It's about don't let your temper get the best of you. Talking to myself here. So at any rate, I have 4 quarts of potatoes. I've got my salt in here, and I am warming up water to put in. I'm going to temper this by putting just a little bit of the warm water in the bottom of each jar because it's like 65 degrees in this house right now. It is way too cold to be putting hot water in here. So I'm going to put just a little bit in to temper it, and then once it's tempered, I'll fill it. 8 cups of hot water in this canner. I'll show you step by step what I do, but it actually comes with an excellent instruction book. I get this out to double check my times and stuff because, you know, even though I've had it for a couple years, this is probably my, I don't know, 4th or so time even using it. So, still really new to me, and I like it. I like having it on the safer counter, and I like having this as an option for canning leftovers every night. If you have just a little bit of beans or stew or chili or any kind of meat and vegetable based dinner leftovers, you can can them, and that adds up over time, and it's way smaller and more convenient than to have the big guy here on your counter all the time. So I'm gonna get my water in here. I hear the water behind me. We're gonna go ahead and get these jars filled, and then I'll fire this one up. This is a little vinegar. Quit keeping a big jar of vinegar. I just kept a little jar. Okay. I have a little bit of liquid in here. This is the water I used to temper the jar, and it's much warmer now. So we're going to continue to pour, and hopefully there's no jar explosion. Nice and slow. I might go about half. Give that a chance to temper. About a half. About a half. Nice and warm. Now remember, water and salt if you want it. Up to about the rim here. Hope I have enough water. It's going to be close. All right, great. Everything. I've already went over these once, but I'm going to do it again, even though it was just water. Snug, don't twerk it. Just like you're tucking them in. Alright, let's get them in the canner. I'll double check my temperature. Pretty warm. Think it'll be fine. Let's raise you back up so you can see better. Okay, I'm going to try to do this by memory. First of all, you have a gasket up here. Always check your gasket. Make sure it's clean, nothing yucky. Take it out from time to time and wash it. It's in good shape right now. It's here in the top of your lid. We're going to close it. On the side here, you have open, close. We're going to lock our lid. I want to make sure, this thing here on the back, I would pull it out for you. It is kind of like your weighted gauge. It comes with 2 different colors. I'm using the black one for 10 pounds of pressure, and you have exhaust and airtight. Make sure it's on exhaust. There's a little arrow here to help you find it, okay? Now, you have a lot of different options. You have water bath, steam cooking, low pressure, high pressure. We're doing high pressure. So I'm going to hit high. I'm going to hit my time for 40 minutes, okay? And then I'm going to hit start. Okay, you see how it's going around in a circle? It's just bringing it all up to temperature, okay? Once this is done, I have to double check my thing. It should beep. Let's see. High in time, which we did. We press start. It's doing this display. This could take up to 30 minutes, so don't wig out. The steam will begin venting, okay? Once it comes up, it'll display an E10. And I did notice one time it didn't display an E10. It went straight to my time. And I wasn't really sure about that, but I let it ride and it did just fine. Anyhow, once it gets to E0, it will beep once, and that's when you set the vent up here, your little weight, to airtight, okay? Once it resumes, the control panel will beep again. If I could speak, that'd be great. And then it will bring it up to pressure. You have a little valve here on the back that will pop up, and your time will start and it will count down. It's really easy. It's not confusing whatsoever, I promise. I'm no expert. I've only done this like 4 times, but it's not hard. It's just can be a little intimidating at first because this is pressure canning and you don't want to make your family sick. You want to make sure you do it right. This little booklet does come with recipes. It's a good instruction booklet. It tells you all the different operations for it. You can even use this as a pressure cooker, kind of like an Instapot. But at any rate, we're going to leave it alone. And it's going to do its thing. And as it shows each step, I'll try to show you in step with my All-American here. I don't know how I'm going to juggle both, but I'm going to try it. Okay, let's see how we do with this. Okay, so it's warmed up now. It's on E10. It'll start venting, and then when it does, it'll start counting down this 10 minutes. And then it'll kick over into our 40-minute time. Okay, she's counted down. It did a little something different that I'm not used to. I think it took a minute to build back up. I'm not sure, but now it's on 40. I'm just following the instructions step by step. I will actually take a picture of the instructions in the book so you can kind of go over it in case I'm not making any sense. But now it should count down from 40 all the way to 0. And then you leave it alone for a full hour and you don't touch it. And once your hour's up, you can remove your jars. See the steam? There it is. So she's done. See, there's still steam. They say you can unplug it, but I just leave it. I don't touch anything until that steam's completely gone. It's already going down. You can hear it. And then I unplug it. You do not touch it for 1 hour. 1 hour. Then you can open her up. So the 10 minutes is almost done on the venting for my All-American. I got 20 seconds left. You can see the steam is shooting up. Here is my weight. I'm going to put it on 10 pounds of pressure. Here in just a few seconds, I'm going to try to switch hands here because I use a towel. I don't want to get burned. Sorry, my thumb was in there. Alright, shut her down. 311. There we go. Ready? There it is. Okay. Now we're going to watch this dial. Once this dial reaches 10, I usually let it go a hair above to like 11. I start turning down my stove to hit that honey spot where it maintains pressure without being too high. So we're getting some heavy jiggling. You can kind of see where the gauge is at. So right now I have my stove pretty high. I'm going to start taking it down about 2 notches at a time till I get it between a 4 and a 5. That's this particular stove's happy spot. And I had to move my canner, so it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to have to do it this way. I'm just going to turn it down a little at a time. It should start calming down now. But that's my process. Every stove is different. You have to learn your stove. But as I turn it down, the jiggler will calm down. You only really want it to go off maybe once or twice a minute tops. This is too high. Hear it? If it's doing that, you need to turn your stove down. Oh, and there it goes. It's starting to calm down. And then I'll turn it down a little bit more. And that'll be it. Alright, timer's up. That's just because I'm walking past it. We're going to shut it off. Okay. Now, I know I say this every time, but just in case this is your first video, don't touch it, don't mess with it, don't move it, do nothing until this pressure goes down to 0 and it sits for like, I don't know, another 30 minutes after that. Just don't mess with it. Leave her be. And once she's come down, we'll take the lid off, but not all the way off. We'll set it at an angle. Give the time for it to adjust, pressure, temperature, everything. Just let it all adjust. Touch nothing. I'll bring you back when I'm ready. Okay, it's been a little over an hour. She's unplugged. She shut down. She's still good and warm, so we have to be careful to open it. Now this one's a little bit difficult because you're opening it from the front, and I always open away from your face, so try to open from the side. How's that, if you can? Just to protect yourself from the steam. Ta-da! Let's see how she looks, shall we? There's jar number 1. I'm going to slowly bring it to you. There they are. Looks great. And like I said, it's actually been probably an hour and 15 minutes since this has kicked off. And you can see the bubbling, the action there going on. Our little puppy dogs are running loose. That's a husky you hear running by. This one is still coming down. It's on, actually it's on 0 pressure, but I have to give it probably another 30 minutes or so before I'll remove the jars. So far as I know, I have not heard any breaking or anything, so everything should be okay. I hope this helped you if you think about doing the Nesco canner. I know they are far more expensive than they were when I bought this one originally. That's why I dug it back out and had to try it. There's no way I could replace it. They're kind of expensive now. But at any rate, that wasn't my point. My point was, don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to pressure can. Don't be afraid. The potatoes are going to be so good this winter. I'm not done yet. This is going to be my final for today. It looks like I'm getting 11 quarts. I'll go ahead and unload this canner to let you see how they look. Tomorrow's going to be day 2, and I may even have to finish up on Monday, because today's Saturday, October 1st. I may have to finish up Monday, day 3, to get our total count on how many we get, because I can't stay home long enough to have a long canning day. So at any rate, I'm going to give this time to cool off the rest of the way. I'll open up the lid, show you how we do that process, and then we'll get them out, take a final look at how they are, and then I guess I'll bring you back tomorrow and show you my final count for that day, and maybe Monday. What is your problem, Ruth? What's your problem? I knew you'd be back. What do you want? Hello. This is the critter that makes all the noise. Yeah. It's Ruthie. It's Ruthie. Yeah, she's cranky. Alright, I've taken the weight off of my canner. We're just going to pop these loose, if I can. It takes a little muscle sometimes. Now, remember what I said about always taking your lid and opening it away from your face. And I'm not going to take this lid all the way off. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to lift it, and I'm going to just kind of rest it like this. Oh, I already heard a ping. Like this, it helps to prevent siphoning, and it gives the jars a chance to adjust before you take them all the way out. So this is how I leave it for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and then I'll take the lid the rest of the way off, and then we'll remove the jars. Ew, Ethan's going by. There he is. He's running. It's the hazards of doing videos on the weekend. Here's my other one. Let's see my other one. Here's my other one. There he is. Okay. Been a few more minutes. Should be plenty of time to allow these jars to adjust. And actually, now that I look at them, every single one of them is already sealed. Isn't that crazy? I knew I was hearing pings, but I didn't realize all of them were. Alrighty, let's take a look. Nice. I'm going to try to bring it towards you. There she is. Very nice. Color is similar to that of the electric canner. Lots of bubbling. That process took some time today. And I get to do it again tomorrow. Yay. And I just set my lid back on here loosely. Nothing crazy. Once it comes down to a total and complete cool down, I'll dump the water, clean it, wash it, get it ready for tomorrow. I'll show you. Oh, before I forget and show you, I was going to show you the potatoes, but I'm going to show you this. This is the jar that I just retired. D-R-E-Y, Dray or Dry, I'm not sure which. This was an oldie and I had used it quite a bit. And right here, hopefully it catches it, she's got a chip. And I think I feel one right here. Poor old girl. A lot of use out of this jar. I'm not going to throw it away. You can use it for dry storage, pretty flower vases, stuff like that. But it's officially retired, and how I mark them is, oh, that's water in there. I washed it. How I mark them is I'll take a Sharpie and I'll put a little X on there, or I'll write the word chip or something like that to make sure it doesn't get mixed back in with circulation. But it even really had quite a bit of the last rubber gasket that I used. It even stayed stuck to it, and it's a pain to get off. That one came off a little bit better. Maybe since it's drier. But when it was wet, I couldn't hardly get that off. So anyway, she's finally in retirement. At least from canning. Alright, let's take a look at these jars. There we go. Can you see them bubbling? I would say that's a success. Looks like every one of them is pinged. Alright, 11 for today. Now on to tomorrow. There you have it. It's been a little bit since I was able to finish these. They've been sitting on the table for a few days because when you get busy, you just have to get around to stuff. You know what it's like. It's real life. I ended up with a total of 29 quarts. I only had one really bad rotten potato and a few others that couldn't be salvageable. So if I was able to hit that quickly and get it done within just a couple of days instead of taking me a week to get them canned, we probably would have had more like 31, 32. But overall, I'm very pleased with it. If I happen to get another bag, if I get fortunate enough to find one and the price hasn't went up too much, we'll definitely do another one, and that'll double it, and that'll be plenty for us for the winter. So, Jessie Boy's here today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking out, waiting around on this video for those on my Instagram. I know I said it was going to be posted a few days ago, but no, we're slow around here sometimes. Thanks for joining us. Do what you can right where you are.
Psalms 34, verse 8. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you next time.